Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everybody. AFTERBUZZ TV here for our final recap. Sad. Yes, we are very sad. It's our final recap of the Newsroom. We just had our series finale entitled, What Kind of Day Has It Been?
What kind of year has it been?
What kind of year? What kind of series has it been? Yeah. Well, what kind of day has it been? We're sad.
Yeah.
To see this series end, but yeah, we loved the episode. We're gonna dive right into it here. My name is Sarah Mendoza, and sitting next to me, who do I have here?
I'm Kendra Kabasele, and on the line we have
Kellie.
Kellie.
Co-host Kellie with a K.
I'm so sad. I have to say that this was a really, really fantastic episode. I thought kind of got to go back to the beginning of all this Newsroom madness and kind of see what brought this awesome team together and what kind of the character development of each and every one of them, which I thought was beautifully done in a way that kind of takes you back and takes you through what this whole series has been. And I've already started looking at some of the recaps and some of the popular opinion on social media. And, you know, there's a divide between it, which I find really interesting, and we can kind of go through it as, you know, I can kind of touch on it as we go through. But overall, I thought it was a really great episode. It tied it together awesome for me. What about for you guys?
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Kellie. What I thought was great that they incorporated flashbacks.
Yeah.
And also, you know, most of them kind of centered around the relationship with Charlie, who, as we know, you know, the characters are mourning his passing in the episode. So to kind of, you know, centralize it around the relationship with Charlie and then go back to way back when in the beginning and reveal scenes that we actually didn't see before was pretty cool.
That was clever. That was
very
slick
clever.
Up Sorkin.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of gives the hint that Charlie was the mastermind behind it all, down to the sorority girl comment.
Right.
Yeah, at first, I thought it was going to just be repeat scenes, you know, just repetitive things we'd already seen, but it turned out to be the things that were hidden, things that kind of made everything come full circle, and as you said, Kellie, it wrapped everything up in a bow. You know, just a nice finale.
Yeah, beautifully done, beautifully done. We got to revisit a lot of things and then see the secret happenings that we didn't know about underneath it all.
Yeah.
But how about that opening scene? As we know, you know, Charlie has gone to heaven, and it opens at the funeral, and everybody's there in the church celebrating, you know, for the memorial there of Charlie, and cut to Mackenzie, who's on the phone outside. And she's talking to somebody, and it's not, you know, revealed up front, but it turns out, it's actually her doctor. And in that, when I was listening to her talk, I knew this was going to be about her being pregnant. Did you guys have that feeling?
You knew that. I didn't. I was thinking she was maybe still tying up loose ends with the story with the source. So
That's what I thought when I first heard her talking, and not until she actually came inside and told Will who she was talking to did I put it together right before she kind of gave it away.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I was with you, Kendra. I thought it was going to be about that other story.
Yeah. We're usually on it, but
I guess Sarah was on it.
Yeah,
there was something about just like I guess the energy that she was bringing during the conversation that made me feel like it was a personal thing rather than professional. And I even called it right, Kendra. I was like, she's pregnant.
Yeah. I was like, no, they're not going that way.
Yeah, and I loved when she goes back into the church to sit down next to her husband, sit down next to Will, and she tells him.
Whispers in his ear, yeah.
Yeah, and how much did you guys love his reaction?
That was cute.
Just like the grin creeping across his face, and it stays on his face, and the choir or whatever is done singing, and everybody sits down,
and he's still standing.
Like lost in the moment of it all.
And that's when we see him. See, that's when the flashbacks start, right?
Yeah.
That's when it flashes back to, and I like how the flashbacks kind of tie into the present also, in a not so obvious kind of way. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you flash back to he and Charlie kind of having that bigger conversation because of how he was basically tanking the news and being too afraid to actually do the news, and Charlie's frustration kind of going at him. But then he talks about his grandkids. He talks about the song, the country song, when Will goes in there asking why he's listening to country, and then talks to him about being a dad. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like ties that all in, and that's what he's thinking of at that moment.
Right.
After Mackenzie tells him, he thinks back to Charlie, and just we knew they had a very intense, close relationship, but with these flashbacks, it just kind of brings it kind of more to the forefront of just how special these two people were to each other, and not just in a professional way.
Right. I feel like in every flashback, there was a beautifully written piece of dialogue into that where it just kind of wrapped things up. And at the end of that, Charlie says to Will, hey, being a father, it lives up to the hype. And then cut back to present day. And I thought that was so cool, just how it kind of relates back. So I agree with you, Kelly. I really love that.
Yeah. And it kind of demonstrated how everything they went through prepared him for that moment in the church. Hearing that he's going to be a father, and remembering that Charlie was basically his own father figure, healthy father figure, when his father was an alcoholic. So.
And I just love how he's so excited about it. They go outside, and he's being extra careful with Mackenzie, right? Like,
is it okay for you to be outdoors?
She's like, well, only for she messes with him back. Well, only for the first 5 weeks, or whatever she says.
8 weeks or something.
Yeah.
For the first 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really, really cute. And, he's really focused on, his life. And we see in the flashback, too, his hesitation about being a father because of his age, and he doesn't feel like he's going to be around that long, and, all of the things that he discusses. So then when we see him in present day, and, he wants everybody's health tips. Before I would have told you, don't come at me with that. But now I want to know. I want to know them all. If you see me doing anything unhealthy, slap me in the face.
Like the cigarettes.
Give it to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how he told Mackenzie that he'll be in charge of morale during pregnancy. They're kind of like attacking it like it's a profession, right?
Yeah. Like it's a science project.
Well, and all these hidden comedy moments that are kind of built in to these serious moments. I mean, when he's doing that and he kind of throws out the cigarette, and he throws out his whole pack of cigarettes, and he's talking to the 3 girls and the guy, and obviously the guy doesn't get it at all, but he's just like, why all of a sudden do you need to be healthy? Why do you need to keep yourself alive all of a sudden now? And the girls get it right away. And then he freaks out because he let it slip, and he's like, I think I did this wrong. Everybody stop.
Yeah.
And it's just that kind of like funny play on how the girls got it. Obviously the guy didn't. He's just oblivious to it.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really cute.
But why couldn't he have just been inspired by, just being aware that life is short? I didn't see why they all assumed it was pregnancy. That he was.
Yeah.
Am I being naive?
I thought it. Well.
Because
who knows?
He's Will, and
yeah.
he just the way he had been handling it. It was, I don't know. I would have automatically gone to she's pregnant too, just because of his his sudden, he threw the cigarette from his mouth, picked it up, went through them all the way. And it was just too abrupt.
I guess.
Regardless.
But I thought that plan, it was funny.
Yeah.
Well,
the way it played out, it made for a comical type of situation like that.
But then I think the guy seemed to figure it out. His face looked like he, at the end, was like, oh, maybe I do know what you guys are talking about. And then I thought he was
I don't know. I thought it was just kind of like, he was like, whatever, and over it.
Yeah,
He
maybe.
cares that much.
He's like, these drinks are good.
But in true ACN newsroom fashion, word spreads quickly.
Like wildfire.
Everybody just kind of whispered it to everybody. So now everybody knows that she's preggo. All right. Okay. So pregnancy, that's a big, reveal of the night. On to Maggie and Jim. The first time we see them tonight, they're holding hands. Oh, right?
Yeah.
In the car. And Kendra loved that.
Was nice.
It's been 3 long days. They've been together for 3 whole days.
Yeah, but wait a second,
And
Kelly. They slept together.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it's just been a long time coming. So it was just like finally.
Right.
It was just nice to see. 3
Right.
seasons.
So how nice of Jim to refer or recommend Maggie for her dream job pretty much in DC.
That's love.
Yeah, I think we all knew that, something good would come out of this for them professionally by the end of the series. And, she's going to get to interview for her dream position as a field producer. And he
Gets bumped up.
Yeah, he's getting bumped up. And we'll talk about it more later, but he's getting bumped up because somebody else is getting bumped up.
Yeah, but even before all of that, it was, at the funeral where Maggie asked Sloan, should I be upset that he recommended me for this job? And right away she tells her no. Mm-hmm. But I like that she goes and tells Jim, gets them together, and then tries to mediate their conversation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And her reasoning is on point because they've kind of messed it up for these last 3 years. She's like, you guys just seem to not get it. It's not as hard as you think it is. Let's talk it out. I just thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was nice.
Right.
I wonder if Sloan would have done that in season 1.
I think
absolutely not.
Yeah,
right.
she's a meddler, but I don't think she's really like she was really an as emotional or relationship oriented as she is now, or that she's being revealed to be. Yeah,
well,
she has grown a lot.
She was invested in them. I think it's more. I think that her personality is still a bit awkward as far as just kind of the different social cues. But I think she's just more invested in them. Mm-hmm. As a group and as her, family, that she feels that she needs to get involved and just kind of, cut to the chase, which, I find is just shows the growth of that team over these last 3 years of all of them. And I loved the flashbacks with her and Dawn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, because we find out that she kind of had a thing for him from way back.
I loved that we got to see that little moment where she was going to go back, but then she witnessed the kiss.
It was weird for us, or for me at least, to see Maggie with Dawn again. Yeah. That seems like a whole different world. And so when they were being a little touchy there, that's
cringeworthy.
Yeah. That doesn't fit at all.
Well, what was interesting for me with that was kind of going back, and I remember when we first started doing the after show in the very first season, we all hated Dawn. Remember?
Yeah. Or we were frustrated with him. Yeah.
He was such a jerk in the way he treated Maggie and everyone else. We just really, really hated him. Mm-hmm. So to go back to that same time and see this other side of him, and now that we've gotten to know his character and seen kind of the evolution of that, I had a very different opinion watching his interaction with Sloan when she came attacking him over an interview that Will had done on the show, and just his comeback to her that was still very, very much Dawn. But he is smart. He's an ass, but he's smart. He's on point, and he has a very condescending way of making you feel stupid and being right at the same time.
Right.
Which is exactly what we got to see from him. And I didn't hate him. And it just, it really does kind of shows how much I've personally, as a fan of the show, just kind of grown watching these characters and how they have just kind of come to life over these last few years, and just going back in time to that and having a very different opinion of him, but watching the same personality, which is very interesting for me.
I agree. You know, and to add to that, now Sloane's, you know, slick-tongued, you know, witty comments that in her intelligence has a new purpose, because that's what Don needs, I feel, to kind of put him in his place.
Keep him
right?
on his toes.
Yeah, keep him on his toes, kind of like call him out on when he's being a jerk.
Yeah.
Because she can level with him in that way.
They have a good rapport, like a
good dynamic.
They definitely have a good dynamic and a good push and pull, and I think that was a great, because I remember when she first kind of admitted that she liked him, and we were all kind of taken aback by that, but I think that they are definitely a really good match.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
It's so funny.
Yes, so now, did you have something else to say about
No, I was
them?
just saying, and that she would ask the housekeeper for advice. She was like, "Oh, you want coffee?" And she just, it was cute, the little moment that we missed, obviously, in the first season.
She's adorable.
Yeah, it was cute. Okay, sorry.
No,
next.
No worries. So, you know, next scene is Leona pulling Mackenzie into a car with Pruitt.
I love that Leona was back, and I actually liked seeing her flashback with Will when, after everything happened at Northwestern and he was off at St. Bart getting drunk, talking to the bartender. And I love how he said, "You're not as helpful as your movie counterpart." Talking to the bartender who probably didn't understand as good of English.
Right.
He probably should have. But we also find out a little tidbit about Leona, that she wasn't against Newsnight 2.0. Not as much as the second season made us think she was.
Right. A lot of smoke and mirrors. That kind of cleared up in the finale.
Well, it was more Reese, I guess, was the kind of the fighting point on that because of ratings and all of that. And it looked like she was a little bit more on Charlie's side than we were led to believe in the beginning.
Sure. I mean, she had to enter through the numbers too, which is what the whole fight was. But, you know, it's nice to see that deep down inside, she's a little bit more on the Charlie, Don Quixote strategy.
I mean, obviously, Charlie couldn't completely go rogue, so we know he had to have a little bit of an okay from them. But just kind of see that she actually took initiative to pick up the phone, call Will, you know, what's going on with you? Are you okay? And then seeing his kind of change of heart there and giving him the go-ahead, I thought was something interesting that kind of added to the whole storyline for me.
Right. But, you know, during that scene, they kind of talk about the PR problem that Pruitt has, right?
He has a very bad image problem, which we can tell from first meeting him. He's a jerk. Well, he's just very dry. He's not very personable. He's not good with people. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a jerk, but he just is very matter of fact. He doesn't kind of know how to handle social situations in a very friendly way. And so it's kind of having a backlash. I mean, it kind of shows why he's having to hire models for his party. He probably has no real network of friends because he's got that very harsh personality.
Right. And the whole thing is, you know, going along with hiring those women models and all that, is he has an air of like sexism to him that the press is picking up on and making a story. And that's the concern that Leona is saying, that, hey, we need to do some damage control here. And we find out that she's got a way to
make that happen.
Right?
Kind of work that out. Now, I thought that was an interesting subject for them to get into, just because of a lot of the sexism stuff that Aaron Sorkin has done for this show in general.
Right. Maybe he was kind of
the way he's been, you know, writing women characters and all of that, which I'm sure people will attack anyway, again, and say that it's, you know, the way that he wrote it was still kind of just to satisfy the masses, not necessarily because he felt like a woman deserved the position.
Right.
You know, you'll always kind of have that. But I just thought it was an interesting subject to tackle, especially with the company in question being called Quench with a K.
Well, the thing is, too, he's doing his job and sparking a dialogue. whatever he
absolutely.
believes. So I think it's a good thing.
And he's probably just bringing that up within the character, or he might have been, but and he might have not, but it might have been a coincidence. But it's interesting to think about that he included that in the plot line there.
Right. It would have been nice.
Yeah, the only thing that I was a little disappointed in that they didn't get to as far as that storyline goes was the fact that she gets a promotion and she's pregnant. And I kind of wanted to see his reaction to that. Because he's going to have to deal with not only her being a woman in a high position, but also the fact that she's pregnant and is going to have to take maternity leave and, all these different things that women always get a lot of flack for in the workforce. And so I kind of would have liked to have seen that touched on a little bit more. But I mean, obviously we didn't have that much time.
Sure. I can see that. And also what came across my mind was that, oh shoot, if Pruitt realized she's pregnant, will he not continue with the offer?
There'll be an uprising. Because I mean, it was almost like a salute to Sheryl Sandberg and leaning in and that sort of thing. So I mean, women are doing it already. So I think maybe that was his.
She will be the president.
Ode to that
with child.
Yeah, just bring the crib into the office.
They should have a daycare at ACN.
I mean, she's definitely capable. I mean, we do see the flashback with Charlie going to look for her, where she's kind of down and out, getting drunk and bowling at 11 a.m. on a Monday?
Right. So that is the next flashback actually that happens with Charlie approaching Mac about the Newsnight position at the bowling alley. She's in her sweatpants. She's drinking in the daytime. She's still on Afghanistan time, fresh from her battle wound that she had.
Stabbed in the abdomen.
Yeah, stabbed in the abdomen.
Goodness.
That sounds so Badass. Hey, I was stabbed in the abdomen. Here I am bowling.
She said the pay cuts hurt worse. Hurt more or whatever.
I love that line too.
Yeah.
But this is when so we knew that Charlie was the one that brought on Mackenzie to produce Newsnight, but how cool was it to actually finally see that visually in the scene?
Moment.
Because we didn't get that before.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about these flashbacks, is it gives us a little bigger peek into, how things unfolded.
Right.
So he does some convincing, and his convincing to get Mackenzie on board is that she really harps on the fact that Will, her Achilles heel, because they have a romantic relationship,
which Charlie couldn't care less about.
Yeah, only is only interested in what Mackenzie has to say, and that's the reason why he feels like she would be the best, leader for that group at Newsnight. Mm-hmm. What did you guys think about that scene?
I thought it was great. I thought, being able to see that, because that was kind of one thing that was always missing from that first episode, that where we meet her, is to see if she had any hesitation at all, especially considering their past. And it was nice to see that she did. And Charlie was smart. He baited her with all the right things. He used that relationship to his advantage and made her curious by making her believe that Will did care about her opinion, even though he hadn't answered her emails, calls, messages, or anything, not only in months, but actually in years. He, really had,
so she's
kind of written her out. So she was, she didn't think at all that this was going to work.
Right. I mean, her disbelief is warranted if you're not getting a response. But, I think that when we're reminded that she was there during Will's Don Quixote speech, I think that was the convincer for her. I think she was kind of still on the fence, but when she saw it was still in him during that debate, and the whole "why is America the greatest country in the world?" I think that's what told her.
Yeah, she got to see that second gear of Will that she was telling Jim about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That different side to him that he had kind of let lapse.
Right.
Kind of brought this whole theory, everyone into his tailspin when he decided to go back to that. So, I mean, Charlie was right. He was a very smart man, obviously really great at what he did, and knew how to put the right people together. Mm-hmm. And it just it was nice to see it all play out and see his funeral be more of a celebration of who he was, and everybody going back and thinking of the role that he played in their lives.
Right. I want to talk about how Sloane and Dawn are going back and forth as to who's responsible for Charlie's passing.
Who killed Charlie?
Right.
Such a touchy.
Yeah, they're going about it in a way that's, I mean, there's obviously guilt there, and that's why they're doing it.
Yeah, it was because this happened and then that happened, so it was very easy to think that they caused it. But I think it was really beautiful how everything did tie in, and Nancy Skinner, the widow, told Dawn that, oh no, you didn't, basically that you didn't kill my husband, and that.
Yes, I love that scene. I love that we got to meet Nancy Skinner.
Yeah.
His gorgeous wife. And she kind of lays it out there to them to Dawn rather, that hey,
he loved you guys.
Yeah, and Charlie was banking on the fact that you would go against him as he's trying to make Pruitt happy. He was banking on that. So wow, what a great moment for Dawn, right?
Yeah.
All of his guilt and questions and missing Charlie and wondering if they were doing the right thing, in this thing that potentially caused him to have the heart attack, and it's all taken away.
It was all in his face. I don't know if that was just a brilliant moment in acting.
And the handing off of the bow tie, amazing.
Oh yeah, which we were actually commenting. I know we're going on 10 tangents, but we were commenting. What did you think, Kelly, about him giving it to Sloane? I
thought that was not only romantic, but also she needed it, and he knew that.
Yeah.
She was feeling a lot more guilty than I think anyone realized, or she wanted anyone to let on, but he could tell, and he knew that she needed it more than he did.
Right.
And I thought that was really, really touching, and just shows not only, that they have a deep, friendship. And I thought that was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it is nice how they each kind of broke off into their coupledom, but it's all genuine. Loved.
Absolutely. And I want to make sure we talk about Neil.
He's back.
I'm sad that Neil didn't make it to the funeral.
I know.
Yeah.
But Neil is back, and he shut it down. He gave that digital team a talking to like no one else could.
You embarrassed me. He said, "You embarrassed me."
He did it all straight face and with such confidence, which was
that very Neil way.
Yeah.
That just was very matter of fact. You took what I built and turned it into this. No, we're taking this down and rebuilding it.
Right.
Another character though that
has grown
so much
from the Bigfoot days to making a name for ACN Digital. He's come a long way.
Oh, Bigfoot.
Yeah, but I'm so glad that we at least got to see him and that he's back and that they made a big deal about it, right?
Yes.
Will announced the moment as soon as he arrived or his plane landed and everybody, had their applause.
Yes.
And he goes straight to work. He's been watching from afar. Enough is enough. He shuts it down on his cell phone, showing the guys who's boss. And I like that they even touched on, they were making this silly list of the, most overrated movies of all time.
Yeah.
And all time apparently goes back to 1999.
Right. All time for millennials, right?
Yeah, way to make everybody in this room feel old.
But I like that he called that out.
Yeah.
All time and 14 years are two very different things.
But you could see a respect that the new hires had for Neil, and they quickly turned around. They were about to get all defensive, but I think they had a respect for Neil.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it was a very different reaction than what they had with Sloane and Dawn, and rightfully so.
Right.
Neil built that division from nothing.
Right.
Absolutely.
And he worked really hard on it. So hopefully they can find a kind of a middle ground on how to make it better and appeal to both audiences in a very intelligent way.
Yeah. And I know we're running out of time here, guys, but the last thing I want to just chat about for a second here is when Will sees cute little chubby Ned, and Ned is the grandson of Charlie, and he goes, "Hey kid, how you doing?" And he's looking for his brother, and he brings him over to the garage where his brother Bo is playing, because Bo's in a band. And they have a really, really touching moment, I think, where they're kind of talking about Charlie and how they miss him. And since he's already got the guitar out, why don't we play a song?
They
And
jammed.
we hear Jeff Daniels sing with the boy with Bo.
And Jim joined in.
Yeah,
And
coolest
they had a
band
nice
ever.
little jam session
Yeah.
going back to the same song that he and Charlie had spoken about in the flashback before.
Yeah, that was
That
so
was, that
sweet.
Was, that was nice. I didn't feel it was a filler moment either. I
No,
thought
No.
that was a really nice kind of touching thing. Charlie's gone, but I'm still here. And kind of putting him into the role of being a dad.
Yeah. And looking out for his grandson.
yes,
Grandson.
because there's a new chapter at Bay here for Will of being a father.
And he keeps assuming it's going to be a boy, so I guess we'll just go with that, right?
Yeah, if it's not a boy, he's got two boys here to take under his wing now.
Baby
To
McAvoy.
carry on the legacy there. But I thought that performance or that song was a beautiful ode
Yeah.
to not only Charlie, but to these characters
wonder if
and how
it's-
they're so, they've come so close together and come so far. And what a beautiful song as well.
Beautiful wrap up.
Yep.
And I wonder if that's going to be on iTunes.
Let's get it
Oh,
on
I
there.
hope so. That would be nice if it was.
Yeah.
I would download it right away.
Yeah.
And then before they head over back to the studio, Will finally makes a speech, which everyone was kind of waiting for. He had been having a tough time with it, but he also announces that Mackenzie will be taking over
As president.
for Charlie, which is
The
which is a
president.
really big deal and a really great thing, and which we kind of touched on before. But also just talking to everyone about how he's been hearing from everyone, kind of everyone's skills and on how they felt, and then going back to the whole Don Quixote thing. And I just think his speech was really nice and summed up Charlie and his mission in a very nice way.
Right. And the flashback where Charlie says, "In the old days, Will, we did the news well, and you know how? We just
Did it."
decided to."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, I loved it.
Yeah.
I always loved that line.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they replayed it in the final episode, the final series episode.
Absolutely. And I liked the end. I liked watching them just all go back to work.
Yeah.
Yep, because the news
really
does
did.
not stop. That's the
But it
whole
was almost like a calm feeling in the newsroom. All
Yeah,
was well.
everybody's
they've
Yeah.
everybody's
found.
kind of secured in their role. Everybody's kind of on that track where it's not as mess. They all know where they want to go, what they want to do, and they're stronger for it. And hopefully, it'll all come together.
Charlie's
It will.
watching over them.
Yep, now he's the angel of the newsroom.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Oh.
Such a great episode. I'm glad that we were in it for the long haul here. We got
know.
through the series and we loved every single moment of it. I'm sad it's going to be gone.
I'm sad too.
But hey, we're going to be watching it on HBO Go, rerun style.
Maybe there'll be some deleted scenes. That was my prediction.
Yeah, or maybe a spin-off. Let's cross our fingers for that.
Yeah, that would be nice when the baby comes.
Yes. Well, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in for our final recap of The Newsroom. I am Sarah Mendoza. You can find me on Twitter at Sarah with an H Mendoza.
You can find me at Kendra with a K, Kendra, Kabasele.
And you can find me at Kellie with an IE 079.
Thanks, everybody.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.